What if the most powerful weapon America has isn't a nuclear bomb, isn't an aircraft carrier, isn't a military base in 80 countries? What if America's most powerful weapon is a piece of paper in your wallet right now? The US dollar. For over 80 years, the American dollar has been the undisputed king of global trade. Every barrel of oil, every container ship, every international deal done anywhere on this planet settled in dollars. That single fact has given America a power so enormous, so invisible, so deeply embedded into the global financial system that most people don't even know it exists. But right now, that power is under attack, and the movement threatening it has a name that most people can't even pronounce: De-Dollarization. And by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly what it means, why it's happening right now, and what it means for your money, your country, and the global economy for the next 50 years. Stay with me, because this is the most important financial story of our generation, and almost nobody is telling it straight. Let's start at the very beginning, because to understand why countries are trying to ditch the dollar, you have to understand how the dollar became king in the first place. Go back to the 1920s. World War I just ended. Europe is devastated, broke, rebuilding from rubble, and America came out of that war stronger than it went in. Gold was flooding into West vaults. The British pound, which had been the world's reserve currency for over a century, was weakening, and the dollar started quietly taking its throne. Then came 1944, and this is the moment everything changed. Imagine a room in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, July 1944. World War II is still raging, but 44 allied nations got together and made a decision that would shape the entire global economy for the next century. They agreed the US dollar would be the world's reserve currency. Every other currency would be pegged to the dollar, and the dollar itself would be backed by gold at a fixed rate of $35 per ounce. Just like that, America didn't just win the war. America won the entire global financial system. Every country on earth now needed dollars to trade internationally, to buy oil, to buy commodities, to do business across borders. The demand for dollars became essentially infinite, and America could print money, run deficits, and fund its government in ways no other country on earth could match. Economists called it America's exorbitant privilege, and it was real. But then came the 1960s, and cracks started appearing. European and Japanese exports were booming. Dollars were flooding the world, and countries started doing the math. There were way more dollars in circulation than America had gold to back them up. France, led by President Charles de Gaulle, famously started shipping dollars back to America and demanding gold in return. De Gaulle called the dollar's dominance an exorbitant privilege that unfairly benefited America at everyone else's expense. And then came 1971. The moment that changed everything again. President Richard Nixon walked into the Oval Office, went on national television, and made an announcement that stunned the world. America was ending the convertibility of dollars to gold. Just like that. No more gold standard. The dollar would now be backed by nothing, just the full faith and credit of the United States government. This move, called the Nixon shock, should have destroyed the dollar's dominance, but it didn't, because America made another deal. A secret deal with Saudi Arabia. America would provide military protection to Saudi Arabia, and in exchange, Saudi Arabia would price all of its oil exclusively in US dollars, and convince the rest of OPEC to do the same. The petrodollar was born, and the dollar didn't just survive, it got stronger, because now every country on earth needed dollars not just to trade, but specifically to buy energy. The one thing every economy on earth cannot function without: genius. Absolute genius. But fast forward to 2014, and something happened that quietly changed the game. Russia annexed Crimea. The West responded with sanctions, and Russia, cut off from the dollar system, made a decision. They were going to de-dollarize aggressively, strategically, and they were going to bring China with them. By 2022, when Russia invaded Ukraine and Western sanctions hit Russia harder than ever before, the ruble-yuan trade between Russia and China exploded. We're talking 80 times increase in 8 months. 80 times. That's not a trend. That's a seismic shift. And Russia wasn't alone anymore. In 2022, central banks around the world bought gold at the fastest pace since 1987. Not dollars, gold. Because gold can't be sanctioned. Gold can't be frozen. Gold doesn't need SWIFT. Gold doesn't need Washington's permission. And in 2023, the dominoes started falling faster. Brazil and Argentina began discussing creating a common currency to reduce dollar dependence. The UAE and India started trading oil in rupees, not dollars. Russia and Iran began developing a cryptocurrency backed by gold to bypass the dollar system entirely. Think about what's happening here. Major economies, oil producers, nuclear powers, all independently moving to reduce their exposure to the US dollar. Not because they hate America, but because they watched what happened to Russia and they realized, if America can freeze your dollar reserves with the click of a button, then holding dollars is a national security risk. Now here's where it gets real for your money and your future. The dollar currently makes up 58.8% of all global foreign exchange reserves. The euro is a distant second at 19.7%. Every other currency is in single digits. That dominance gives America incredible power. It keeps inflation lower than it should be. It keeps interest rates more manageable. It allows the US government to borrow cheaply. It funds the military. It funds social programs. It is the invisible foundation underneath the entire American standard of living. So what happens if that foundation starts cracking? If the dollar loses its reserve currency status, even partially, the consequences hit everyday Americans hard and fast. More inflation, higher interest rates, higher borrowing costs for the government, which means higher taxes or cut services, or both. A weaker dollar means everything you import gets more. Expensive gas, electronics, clothing, food. This isn't theoretical. This isn't some doomsday conspiracy. This is basic economics. And the timeline is already in motion. But here's the nuance that most people miss, and this is important. De-dollarization is real. It is accelerating, but the dollar is not going to collapse tomorrow, or next year, or probably even this decade. Here's why. Despite everything, despite BRICS nations pushing alternative systems, despite gold buying, despite yuan trading, central banks still hold nearly 60% of their reserves in dollars. The dollar is still the currency of last resort in a global crisis. When COVID hit in 2020, what did every country on earth rush to buy? Dollars. When markets crashed, what surged? The dollar. The dollar has network effects so deep and so wide that replacing it is like replacing the internet. Technically possible. Practically, it would take generations. But here's the thing. You don't need a dollar collapse to feel the pain of de-dollarization. You just need a slow, steady erosion of dollar dominance. A gradual shift from 60% to 50% to 40% of global reserves. That shift alone, over 20 or 30 years, would fundamentally reshape the American economy and the global power structure. And that shift is already happening. Number one, understand that inflation is not just a Fed problem. It is a dollar dominance problem. Every percentage point of reserve currency status America loses puts upward pressure on prices at home. Watch the dollar index. Watch gold. These are your canary in the coal mine. Number two, diversify your assets internationally. If the dollar weakens over the long term, assets denominated in other currencies, international stocks, real estate, commodities become more valuable in dollar terms. The smart money is already thinking globally. Number three, take gold seriously. Central banks around the world are buying gold at record pace for a reason. They know something. When the world's biggest financial institutions are hoarding physical gold, that's a signal worth paying attention to. Number four, watch BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and now dozens of other countries joining the bloc are actively building an alternative financial architecture, a BRICS currency. Alternative payment systems. Gold-backed trade. This is not a fringe movement anymore. This is a coordinated geopolitical strategy by nations representing over 40% of the world's population. Number five, stay informed, because the decisions being made in boardrooms and government offices right now about which currency to use, which system to trust, which country to align with financially, will determine the economic landscape of the next 50 years. And most people have absolutely no idea it's even happening. Here's the bottom line. The US dollar became the world's reserve currency through a combination of military power, economic dominance, and brilliant financial diplomacy. It has held that position for 80 years, and it will not give it up easily or quickly. But the world is changing. The sanctions on Russia showed every country on earth that dollar dependence is a vulnerability, and smart nations, whether you agree with their politics or not, are quietly, systematically reducing that vulnerability. The dollar isn't dying, but its monopoly is ending. And the transition from a dollar-dominated world to a multipolar currency world will be one of the most consequential economic events of the 21st century. The question isn't whether it will happen. The question is whether you'll be financially prepared when it does. This is exactly why Finance Untold exists. To take the most complex, most consequential financial stories on the planet and break them down in a way that actually makes sense. To give you the information you need to protect your money, understand your world, and stay 10 steps ahead. If this video opened your eyes to something you did fully understand before, then do one thing right now. Subscribe to Finance Untold. Hit that bell. Share this video with someone who needs to understand what de-dollarization really means. Because in a world where the rules of global finance are being rewritten in real time, the most dangerous thing you can be is uninformed. Finance Untold. The truth behind the numbers.